All right. So, Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening, everyone. Welcome again to today's edition of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. Hope you had a great weekend or having a good start to your another week. Let's get started. We have to conclude our discussion on Shloka 4.24. Encourage you to turn your video on if you can. And let's get underway. We have a hard stop at 10 today. We have an important meeting today related to Diwali, but we'll try to wrap up our stuff by 10 today. So let me share my screen. We will get started by invoking the blessings of God and Guru like we always do. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's get started. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Dev Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening, everyone. So let's get started with our shloka that we have been talking about, 4.24. I'm going to recite it and you're welcome to follow along. Brahmarpanam Brahma Havir Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. Okay, it was Brahmarpanam Brahma Havir Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. Okay, so a lot of Brahm in this one. So let's take a few volunteers and then we will get underway.
Radhe Radhe SSPG, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Brahmarpanam Brahma Havir Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina.
Thank you. Very nice. Mrs. PG. Can take a few more hands.
Shyamji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Brahmarpanam Brahma Havir Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmevitena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. Radhe
Right,
Radhe.
Shyamji. So for the benefit of new people, we follow one shloka a day and we go back and forth on the key concepts and we go really slow. One shloka can span multiple sessions, sometimes even a week. And we refer to Swamiji's Song of God book for these sessions. And we have a wonderful group of participants, very enriching sessions. It's good to build it as part of your routine, especially if you are new. I see a few new names today, so welcome to our session. And thank you for turning a video on. Michelle, Abhaji, new faces I'm seeing today. All right, so let's take the remaining hands, and then we'll continue.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe Prabhat Bhaiya, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Brahmarpana Brahma Vil Brahmagno Brahma Putam Brahmaiva Ten Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Take remaining hands.
Yes, Aparna ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe everyone. Brahmarpanam Brahma Havir Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sam G. Chicago. Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Samji.
Radhe Radhe. Brahmarpanam Brahmavi Brahmagano Brahmanahatam Brahmayutin Gantavyam Brahm Karma Samadhina. Radhe Radhe.
Okay, let's very quickly take the remaining hands.
Yeah. Sam G. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Sam.
ब्रह्मार्पणं ब्रह्महविर्ब्रह्माग्नौ ब्रह्मणाहुतं ब्रह्मैव तेन गन्तव्यं ब्रह्म कर्म समाधिना.
Yes, Sam. Thank you.
Pragi Ji. Radhe Radhe.
Yeah, thank you. Radhe Radhe. Brahma Arpanam Brahma Havir Brahma Agnau Brahmanahutam Brahmeva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina.
Radhe
Radhe Radhe.
Okay, Sandhya, go ahead.
Brahmarpanam Brahmavir Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina.
Very nice, thank you. So let's get started. This shloka, Lord is saying that for those who are completely absorbed in God consciousness, the oblation is Brahman, the ladle with which it is offered is Brahman, the act of offering is Brahman, and the sacrificial fire is also Brahman. Such persons who view everything as God easily attain Him. Now, we did speak about this concept on why we need to see everything as God, right? It's a pretty advanced concept, but we need to focus on practical steps because seeing God everywhere, it's easier said than done. So first we need to understand the theory behind it, why everything is God. We spoke about that concept of like spider weaving its web. It brings forth the web through its body. And similarly, God creates this everything through its body. And then when it annihilates, it takes it back. So God is called Anirnyon Nyan Mahato Mahan. That means he is smaller than the smallest and bigger than the biggest. That means after creation, he has permeated every atom of it, energized every atom of it. That is why at a subatomic level, everything is an energy, right? He established that equation between mass and energy, and then he was working on a unified field theory. Basically, everything is interconvertible and there is a single source of energy, and that single source of energy is God himself. We looked at that analytical chart as well. So let's do a quick recap. But before that, we start with the soul soup segment like we do. We have a 3-course meal. We start with an appetizer, soul soup, then we go to the discussion of the shloka itself, and then we wrap it up with the dessert, which is our chanting segment, which we probably cannot have it today because we have a hard stop at 10. So, but nevertheless, let's get started with our first segment, soul soup of the day. What do we have today? Okay, it's an interesting picture, right? I hope you like this picture. Pretty embellished picture, right? So, she's looking cool, isn't she? Now, we all do that at different levels, based on our capacities, of course. So the key point here is, while the world looks on the outside, God looks on our inside. Okay. This is a very important concept to understand. We may, when Swami Vivekananda, he came here for the Chicago conference, he was walking one of the days, and somebody asked him, when you are, you seem pretty well educated, because they had heard him speak about, in the World Religious Conference, but why do you dress like this? Because he was wearing his dhoti and we have seen his attire, right? So he said, in your country, people are called gentlemen based on what they wear from outside. But what God looks at in our country, basically, he said, we focus more on adorning ourselves from inside. That is the key difference. And that is the basic paradigm shift when we get to spirituality. How you look on the outside, you do, that is fine for the world. But how do you adorn yourself with the virtues, right? Like letting go, forgiveness, humility, all the virtues, Devikund, that is what God is interested in. Okay. So this whole process is just about becoming good. That's all. Spirituality is no rocket science. If you think about it, what is the end objective of spirituality? To become good. That's all. So there's a difference. However, instead of being called good, we should strive to become good. So if you think about it, it's pretty deep. Most of our life, we keep on endeavoring to be called good. We like when people praise us. We like when somebody calls us good. And we do not like when somebody criticizes us. We do not like when we do not come across comments or things which are not palatable to us. However, from a spiritual standpoint, the point is rather than being called good, if our focus in becoming genuinely good from inside, which is to adorn yourself with all the virtues that we are talking about, starting with humility, forgiveness, positivity, letting go, all that stuff, tolerance, and then having a strong work ethic, focusing on the process, not having a sense of doership, letting go of ego, all that stuff is needed. And then when we move forward in any of these virtues, even if it's a little bit of progress, then God is extremely pleased. As humans, we consider success on the victories from outside that we attain. While for God, He celebrates our success when we improve a little bit from inside. Okay, when we turn a corner, God is extremely pleased. And that is the whole purpose of this creation, this whole universe that God has created for us to progress. And then He celebrates our little victories. And He keeps on creating situations around us so that we can keep on adorning ourselves. Having said that, this has a connection to what we are going to discuss today, because this is a very deep shloka. Okay, you cannot make sense out of this shloka, no matter how many times you understand. How will you think of everything as a God? So for us to understand the unity, let's understand the difference first of all. Okay, what are the different layers that basically give us this illusion that we are something different from being a fragmental part of God itself? Let's talk about that a little more detail. So this apparently, what do you call that, existence that we have, it looks pretty simple, right? We are operating and our mind thinks certain way, we have a body, everybody has that. But if you think about it at a subtle level, it's a pretty complex machinery that God has given us, and there are so many layers around it, and we'll try to systematically go through that today. How many bodies, how many sharirs do we have, and what happens to our body after we die? What happens to each one of those bodies? That is what we're going to talk about today. So let's move further. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had stated that Jiva Tattva Shakti, Krishna Tattva Shaktiman. Okay, so we have to understand this concept that we are a fragmental part of God. Bhagavad Gita also says, Mame Vansho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, that the Jiva Shakti is my eternal fragmental parts. We are eternal fragmental parts of God. Okay, so the soul is simultaneously one and yet different from God. It's a very important concept to understand. If you come across this philosophy, you are God Himself, that's not right. Okay, you are not God, you are part of God, and you are part of His Jiva Shakti. So God is Vibhu. Vibhu means all-knowing, Satchit Anand. We are Anu, small. Anusat, Anuchit, Anu Anand. Right? And God is Mayadhish. He's the governor of Maya. We are Mayadhin. We are subservient to Maya at this point. Okay, so there are a lot of differences because we are His eternal part. However, we have a potential to become like God. So God realization itself means you become like God at that point. Okay? Now God is saying, let's understand, if we are part of God, of course, although we are all diverse, we are diverse. I'll tell you why we are diverse. Right? If we are part of God, one may say then, we are all same. No, we are not same. There is something that differentiates each one of us. That is what we are going to talk about. But yet we are same because we are part of the same God. Right? So this is how it goes. So people who this understanding starts dawning on them, that we are actually part of that, big root or that big ocean itself, then they are absorbed in the God consciousness, and then they see the whole world in its unity with God as non-different from him. This whole world is called a veritable form of God because it has emanated from God. And when you reach that consciousness, then you have actually realized God at that point, okay? But it's not a straightforward thing to understand. You don't have that perception, right? If everything is God, every atom in this universe is permeated by God, why is it that we are not able to perceive him? Right? That is the question. It's like an ant going around a hill of sugar. It takes the entire tour of that sugar hill. However, it's still tasting. What it's tasting is salty. It's not able to taste the sugar. Now, is there a problem in the hill? It's made up of sugar? Of course not. The problem is that that ant, on its tongue, there is a lump of salt. And because of that, its perception is salty, even though the things are sweet around it. Similarly, although the world is the veritable form of God, our senses are defective right now. And our senses are defective, and it has a lot of layers on it. When we clear up those layers, we will see the world as a veritable form of God itself, which is what saints end up achieving. And that is why they see this world non-different from God itself. Same world is perfect for them. Let's see why we become first of all, why there's a difference, and then what are those layers, those lenses that we need to clear so that we can perceive God. So let's get into that. Okay, there are different layers here. So soul, I don't know if you're able to see the soul. There are few layers on that. Okay, 3 layers I have put in here. So this is who we are. Okay, not the body. We are the divine soul. That's the first lesson in Bhagavad Gita. We are divine soul. We are simply renting this body temporarily, which is called gross body. Now, scriptures say, now let's get into the technicalities. We'll cover some deep topics today, so keep your thinking hats on. Now, in addition to our physiological anatomy, which we study in biology anyways, we have a subtle anatomy as well. Okay, and that is what we are going to try to understand today. Okay. What is it? Our scriptures say we have 3 bodies. So congratulations, we have 3 bodies, okay, within the same body though. All Jeev souls, which is us, under the bondage of Maya, we are Mayadhin, have 3 sharir, 3 bodies. All these bodies are made by Maya and hence are material and transient. It's important to understand that all of these are made up of Maya Tattva. Okay, they are not divine. They are material in nature. Okay. Now let's understand, even material nature has subtle elements to it, and that is what we are going to talk about. What are these 3 bodies now? Let's understand those. So 3 bodies, let's start. These are the layers. The first one is Thul Sharir, the gross body as you see it, the one that we like to decorate a lot, right? The one that we look at it mirror every day. It is the Sthul Sharir, or the gross body made up of mud. Okay. This is called Sthul Sharir. The second layer, or a more subtle element that we have, is called Sukshma Sharir. Sukshma Sharir, it's a subtle body that we have. And then the third body that we have is called Karan Sharir. Okay, Karan Sharir. So hope you are with me so far. We have a gross body, we have a subtle body, and then we have a Karan Sharir. Okay, these are the 3 bodies. Now let's get into a little more detail. So Sthul Sharir is the gross material body, as we see. We are basically a recycled, this body is a recycled atoms of mud, nothing else. Right? We come from mud and we go back to mud, regardless of how we end. So for all we know, we might be, when we eat carrot or something, it could be, somebody's body which has derivative of that which has transformed. That doesn't mean that you don't stop eating carrots, but think about it, right? Everybody goes back to mud and it keeps on getting recycled in different forms. Some of them might have become those precious gemstones that we wear, some of them carrot that we are eating, some of them, might have become grass, which cows fed on, and we are enjoying the dairy out of it. But this is how the cycle, it keeps on getting recycled. It is made up of Panch Mahabhut, which is the physical body along with the Karmendriyas. Panch Mahabhut, we already spoke about it. If you're new to the session, we can quickly revise that. Panch Mahabhut are ether, sky. Through ether, the compression of ether comes air, which gives us the feel. Compression of air gives us fire, which gives us the form we can see. Compression of fire gives us water, which gives us the taste. And then compression of water gives us soil, which gives us a sense of smell. These are the Panch Mahabhut. Now, how that compression happens and how does one element give rise to another one? Only God has that technology. None of the scientists can do that. Science is limited. We cannot create that. And think of, people talk about God being formless. Okay, in these elements only we can understand from something which is formless, Akash. He created air, he created feel. Okay, something which is formless, air, he created form, fire. So can we say God doesn't have the technology to take on a form if he desires to do so? Of course not. That is a not complete definition of God. So God has a form, and yet he's formless. Not only form, but also formless. When he can show you directly, it's happening right in front of our eyes, right? When the creation comes about, he can take on a form as well. And that is called an avatar, or the Bhagwan form of God, when he descends actually from time to time. Nevertheless, getting back to the topic, Pancha Mahabhut, we said those 5 elements are there. So the physical body along with the Karmendriyas, that comprises our gross body. Okay. So what are these Karmendriyas? Karmendriyas are the action-oriented organs, voice, walk, vocal cords that produce speech, hands, which can grasp objects, feet, which enable us to walk, anus, which is the excretory organ, genitals, which are for procreation. So these are the 5 Karmendriyas, and the physical body, as we know, which is made up of Panch Mahabhut, gross body. Okay, this is the first sharir that we are talking about. Now the point here is the Jeev, which is us, has to leave this body behind at the time of death. It's like time to vacate. We go to a hotel, we pay price for that, right? When we go for a vacation, and when the money is over, you booked it for a week, you have to vacate it. Okay. Similarly, this is a body. It's a rental we get in every life. It's not our identity. Okay. Whatever body you have, it's not our identity. We consider our identity synonymous with this, but that is not us. In fact, our identity becomes so much deep rooted in our, basically, with our soul. Our identity is that of a divine soul, that when our time comes, we are not willing to vacate this body because we are not able to let go of it. We think that was our identity, the one that I saw in mirror for the entire life, that was who me was. But then Mr. Yamaraj comes and he breaks that hallucination, and then he cuts the astral cord. Astral cord is which binds the soul to this body. And then the soul has to vacate, and it takes a few days for the soul to actually digest the fact that was not me. When it sees itself lying on the floor or on the hospital bed or wherever, it's difficult for it to fathom it initially. And then that's why it says for 3 days, the soul keeps on frequenting the places, the restaurants, the movie halls, or wherever it used to go, because it's difficult for it to get a closure as well until it understands, okay, I have to move on now. Okay, that was not me at all. And those people I considered mine who are crying for a while, they are not mine either. So that closure, and then it's a journey all by yourself. Only 2 people can accompany you, and a few other baggage that I'm going to talk about. Only people, your sambandhi, that will accompany you on your afterlife is not your spouse, your kid, your parents, your friend, the best friend, or that college buddy, or whoever it is. Only 2 entities can accompany you. One is Paramatma, who's energizing your soul. He has to go with you. He is no choice, basically. He's your eternal father. He has to accompany you no matter which cross body you get into later. And second is, of course, Guru. Okay, they are always with you regardless, and they don't leave your hand until you complete your journey. That is the kind of relationship we have even with Guru, provided you have a Guru. So these are the only 2 entities that can accompany us, but then everything else is left behind. But there is something more that goes with us. Okay, the body, gross body is done. it stays back here. What goes with us? Now let's get into that. The Sukshma Sharir. Now, what is Sukshma Sharir? It is the subtle body that we spoke about that cannot be seen. You cannot see that. This body comprises of 5 karmendriyas. We spoke about 5 karmendriyas. So those 5 karmendriyas, they are in the gross body, and yet they are present in a subtle form as well. Now you will say, what is that subtle form? When you dream, your arms and legs, nothing is moving, right? Even your senses are withdrawn. Your eyes are closed, but you can taste, smell, walk, run. So many things happen, right? There was a lady who used to have a dream of a ghost, and she would run and ghost would chase, and she would run and ghost would chase. Now, how is she running even though she's sleeping? Because those senses are residing in a subtle form, including our Gyan Indriyas, in our body itself. And through that, you can perceive even when you are asleep in dream state. So those impressions, and that is why people, even though they might be blind, but because of their past, impressions and the subtle body that they are carrying from previous lifetime, they can still have dreams, even though they don't have no perception of sight at all. That is what it explains. Okay, Nyaya Darshan explains that. And mind, buddhi, and ahamkar, these tattva, they all comprise your subtle body. In your dreams, you perform all your actions with this body. At the time of death, this body goes along with the jeev. Okay, this has to be understood. It's like when you go to the airport, there are certain things which are allowed in the cabin baggage and certain things that are not allowed. So few things you have to leave behind, few things you are allowed. They are permissible. This is something which is permissible. Okay, it gets within the limit of the safety limits of what you can carry within the cabin, right? So this is something that travels with you. Now, this is a very important concept. Now, what you have done with your mind in this life or in the previous lifetime, it is a permanent accomplice you have to carry. And people say, why to get into the path of spirituality? It's a very simple principle. You don't work on your mind, you repeat with the same mind. And if you have got a troublesome mind that torments you, you have to repeat with the same mind. You still have to work on it. There's no escape from it. It's not like a machine which will get rebooted, right? Just because you have shed your gross body, you have not shed the burden of the troubling mind. You still have to fix it. Or you repeat. If you don't fix it, you say, no, I will not fix it. Sure, you have to fix it next life. You say, no, I will not fix it next life. It will continue to torment you whenever you get a human life. So this mind, we have to really get this in order and get it closer to our spiritual goal. Otherwise, we have to deal with the same mind. Mind is not going to change. The subtle body will continue to accompany you. It's not like after you are gone, it's done. Okay, if we don't get a human body, that's a different thing. But whenever we get a human body, you still have to deal with the same mind. Okay, this chit is your sathi. It is your friend or enemy, whatever you may want to call it. I don't know. If we have befriended it, that's good. Then it is going to help us in this journey. But if we have not befriended it, then it is going to torment you in the life thereafter as well. Ms. Sandhya, you had a question?
Yeah, just for clarity, so if for animals, they will not have a subtle body or mind, like
They will have it is dormant in them. Okay, it manifests only in the form of humans only. When you come as a human, because now you are endowed with intellect, that's when it will come. Now, in case of sages like Jad Bharat and all, those might be some cases where, but the animals, they are called bhogyonis and they are instinctive. They're just instinctive. They'll not have impressions or faculties like this. Now, if somebody has done a lot of devotion and they come back as a animal species and they have an affinity or an inclination towards living closer to saints and stuff like that, those kind of things can happen. But typically, these manifest when you come back as a human, whenever you get that opportunity again. So this mind, animals are instinctive, right? They go with the impulses of eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So they cannot discriminate. So what's the point of giving all these faculties at that point? But whenever you come back as human, you have to deal with the same mind. Okay, so, and then the third body is called, this is an important one, Karan Sharir. This is the causal body. Now, in other words, this is a body created by one's desire. So every desire that you make, that gets stored in your Karan Sharir. Karan Sharir, by the name suggests, It is the cause of your rebirth. Okay. This too goes with the Jeev at the time of death. There is a bit of a difference though. There is a Pralay, there is a Mahapralay. So in Mahapralay, this is immersed in God's infinite belly in the shape of deep state of deep sleep. That time Jeev is free from other two bodies, but this body will stay with the Jeev. Now, when you are in Mahapralay, I will explain you briefly the different kind of pralays as well. That's when the other two are gone. Gross is gone, even subtle is gone at that point, and Karan remains. Because we have desires, and God, like an indulgent father, will say, all right, my son or my daughter, take another opportunity to see where it takes you. Okay. And then you come back again and it will torment you. It doesn't mean that God is giving us an opportunity to fulfill. He said, okay, give it another shot. See if you become happy this time around or not. Okay. So that becomes those desires, they get stored in our Karan Sharir. And whenever we come back, then the Karan Sharir gives birth to the subtle body. And then we are placed in a suitable womb of a mother, which could be any species. If you are lucky enough, we may get human birth. And then the cycle keeps on repeating. Okay. Now you may say that what is this pralay now that I'm talking about? So the point here is, I'll get into that as well. The time Jeev is free from other two bodies, this body stays with the Jeev. Let's talk a little bit about the baggage. So this is how it goes. Okay. No matter how many opulences, notes, and stuff you might have acquired in your life, when you have to deal with Mr. Yamraj, he doesn't allow you anything at all other than these two bodies that you take along with you, and of course Paramatma and your association of Guru. Okay, nothing else is allowed in the journey after journey. Okay. Now these three bodies, they have been eternally associated with Jeev, but at God realization, what happens? At God realization, let's understand, the Jeev will become free from Maya. And Jeev is released from all these material bodies as well. No more of these material bodies. From the moment of God realization, Jeev is given a divine body which lasts forever. Now you get a divine body. I can talk about that as well. In fact, there are a couple of more bodies. I'll talk about it as well. What happens? Let's say you go to a not too very hospitable abode. After this, what happens? We'll talk about that as well. Not to scare you, but it's important to understand the theory at least. Now, scriptures say there are different names for this body, like Divya De, Chinmay De, Gunatit De, or Bhagavad De. So when we become God realized, these bodies are taken care of. You get an upgrade. We get an upgrade. That's about it. An upgraded body, and then you are perpetually in bliss at that point. Okay, you don't have to deal with these because you have removed the cause of your rebirth. So causal body is no longer needed. Subtle bodies already done deal at that point, and gross body, basically you get an upgrade at that point, which is made up of Satchidanand at that point. Okay, so this is how it goes. Yes, Sandhya?
So this Bhagavad Gita also has like a divine mind associated with. I'm just trying to wonder, like sages also operate in the world, they are thinking and acting, right? So
you get an up. So in my buddhi nivesha in Bhagavad Gita says basically God becomes your mind and intellect at that point. Okay, so you get an upgrade in that as well. So he'll give you the divine senses as well at that point, because if you look at when you are serving God in God's abode, once you become God realized, you're still perceiving. You're still perceiving, right? If you look at gopis and all who are in Golok, you have senses, you are perceiving, you are experiencing things, but you are in an upgraded state at that point. The miseries, you are beyond miseries at that point. We can't imagine those states, but that is how our scriptures explain us. Okay, so you are no longer subject to the imperfections of this material world, material body. Tridosh, Tritap, Panchaklesh, all that stuff is gone. And instead of Panch Mahabhut, now you have an upgraded Bhavade at that point. Yes, Aparna ji?
yeah, Aparna ji. Yeah.
Radhe, I had a quick question. Like, does the thinking power come from the mind? Is it given by the mind? If yes, then animals also have a mind, and they also think like I should eat food or bite someone, whatever. But
they are scripted, they are programmed. Okay, they are not able to discriminate stuff. They are programmed. Like Siberian birds, they know where there's a particular season come, they have to fly all the miles up to the Deccan and then come back when the season is over. And so they are programmed, they follow the script that is given to them, right? If a tree is there, it has a script, programmed script by Brahmaji. It knows I need to grow, and then I have to stop. It doesn't keep on growing for the rest of its life. A tiger or a lion, it knows that when I'm feeling hungry, I will eat whatever comes my way, even if it's a human, right? If it doesn't have a choice, it'll eat a human as well. So the point here is that they are scripted, they are programmed, they are instinctive. The problem happens then when we are endowed with intellect and we also are driven by our instincts, then there is no discrimination or differentiation between us and animals at that point. So that is why scriptures tell us, now that you're born as a human, inquire who you are, what is your relationship with God, and what is the purpose of life. If we spend our life only catering to the primal instincts of animals, like animals, I have to eat, I have to sleep, I have to mate, and I have to defend, then it's what a waste, basically. So they have a mind, but these things are latent because it's called a bhog yoni, right? Even if a lion eats a human being, God will not record it as a sin. But if a human eats a lion, it will be recorded as a sin because we are given an intellect. So this is how it goes. They are instinctive.
Right. Yeah. The intellect is also given to us by God, and the free will is also given to us by God.
Will is, yes, that's right. Animals don't have a free will. Okay, they are programmed, they are instinctive at that point. Animals will not be able to differentiate, discriminate between. If it feels danger, it has to take an evasive action. If it feels hungry, it has to eat. So those are called bhog yonis. Okay, there's no karmic backlog that gets created. They can't add or subtract anything, basically. They are just bhogo and then move on to the next cycle.
Okay. Yeah, you answered my question. I was going to ask about the karmic reaction for the animals.
No karmic reaction. If a snake bites you, no karmic reaction. It has to do that. Even if you did not intend to hurt it, but it felt that, so be it. No fault of it. Yeah, this is how it goes. Yes, Preeti ji.
Yes, Radhe Radhe Preeti ji.
Radhe Radhe everyone. Nitinji, a very beautiful session like always. I have this question that I have heard this and I have read this also, that when a human being dies, the body is taken away by Yamraj.
Yeah.
But we cremate. Certain people would bury it. Certain would throw it away for the birds to eat. So how?
Body is not taken. Soul is captured by Yamraj. Okay.
Soul is captured.
So the Yamdoots come. They don't look good. Okay. They don't look nice at all. Okay. And then they pull the soul out of the body.
Okay.
So it is like capturing the soul and not taking the body. Body remains here only. It's a gross body. So it's a figure of speech basically to take the body, but it's actually capturing the soul. But if you are a devotee, and there may be Vishnu Doots who may come, then they will come with a nice air-conditioned aircraft or whatever, I don't know, basically. But Yamdoots, they're very scary. They're freaking scary, okay, and they can freak you out. But they capture the soul, not the body. What are they going to do with our body, right? Animals' bodies are still useful. They can be used for something. Human body is the most useless body. Doesn't come anybody's help, right? And I mean, if you donate your eyes and stuff like that, that's a different thing. But animal bodies are still useful. So many things can be done after it. But human body is the most useless. Human body is useful only when it is alive. Animals don't have that privilege. So this is the irony. Our bodies are useful while we are alive, and animals' bodies are useful even after they die. So that's how it goes. Okay, quickly, for Pralay. Yes, Sam, you had a question?
Yeah, Radhe Radhe Samji.
Radhe Radhe. Do Jnanendriyas and Karmendriyas also fall within the category of gross body alongside with Panch Mahabhutas?
Yes, if you
They
look
are
at
common.
our legs, eyes, they are all form of Panch Mahabhut. However, they preside in your subtle body as well, in a subtle form, right? Our eyes are gross, but when your eyes are closed, your mind can still see in dream state. So both gross as well, and then in the subtle form as well. So they go as part of everything. Yeah.
Okay. One more thing is intelligence carries to the next life as well, because it belongs to subtle body. So few people, like those who are good at math, or physics. Few people are good at certain fields, right?
Wonderful.
Do they, like, does it manifest in their next lives also because the intelligence is getting added?
See, this is a very complex algorithm to say. Basically, we look at it as God's grace. If He bestows certain gift to us based on our prarabdha, our the karmic backlog that we have is infinite, right? So if He picks up the prarabdha, then the physical knowledge that we have attained, let's say in a particular subject, will that continue or not? We don't know. Maybe God may choose to give it as a gift in one of the lifetimes, but there is no guarantee for that. Okay. But the spiritual progress that you have made, Krishna has very clearly stated in Bhagavad Gita, that will be given to you as a gift, no matter what. Now, if he gives you some special skill, like some people are born with a music ear, or they are gifted or something, that is God's grace. Why he gives that? What he has picked up, only he knows. But there is no guarantee, or there is nothing, okay, if I'm good in maths, I'll be good in maths and next time, not necessarily. We don't know. But if you are good in particular thing, from a spiritual standpoint, let's say you have conquered your anger, or you know to let go of things, or you know what to be humble, that God will give you on a platter from next life. Okay, that is a huge mercy of Lord Krishna. So yeah, yes, Prabhat.
Yes, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe, Radhe. So basically, as we were talking about, animals is not having that free will and other things. So we also heard about Kaak Bhushandi and squirrel of Ramji, that thing. So in that case, they were also, having that type of things happening. So can you elaborate it?
Right. So in Satyug and all, right, the dynamics are little different. So we hear it as part of fables in Panchatantra and all, where animals can speak. In Kalyug, they don't have that ability. In Kakbashundi's case, I think it was a special one. He attained God realization in that form. So Lord Ram, when he asked him, "What do you want?" Basically, he could have turned him into anything, including a human or a Gandhar or whatever, right? A beautiful body. He said nothing. All I need is I have attained you in this form, and I would like to be in this form. But all I want from you is a boon to savor your Bal Leelas whenever you take a Ram avatar. And God said, so be it. But those are more exceptions, right? We can think of those as exception. Kakushindi's story, that is not a norm here when we come as an animal in this bhogyoni. Okay, that's not a regular thing. But yeah, we can ask, can we realize God like Kak Mushundi did? Maybe in some other eras, not in Kali Yuga for sure.
So, but in case we will also having that Sukshma Sharir. So, in that case, if we will take birth as an animal or someone will take birth as an animal, so in that case, they will also retain those things, but that will not be that dominating, right?
That those are latent, I think. They don't have an ability to do devotion, right? Crows and other animals do not have an ability to do devotion. They are instinctive. They will just look for food, they will just look for protection, and they will only look for rest and those kind of basic activities only. They cannot do devotion and stuff like that. They don't have that choice. Yes, Mitaji, and I'll talk about a little bit about pralays as well so that you understand what is pralay. Quickly, I'll talk. Yes, Mitaji, go ahead, please.
Hi, I have a small question. It's like the thought process that you're telling me is very Hindu in belief. There are other religions that actually propagate something very different from what you say. So, what happens to those human beings? Is there do they go to other places because their thought process are different? Because there are many religions which actually say that no, there is only one life, there is only one way, and this is the way we look at it. So what happens to those human beings? Is it that like you said, a yama comes to pick them up, something else happens to them because their minds are thinking on a very different thought process from what is being advocated? So how does that actually work? I'm just trying to find out.
Yeah, if you ask me, when we talk about scriptural knowledge, it is universal in appeal, right? If somebody says Yamaraj doesn't come or Swarg is the ultimate destination, that doesn't change or negate the truth here, right? Fact is still a fact. And even if you look at other traditions, they talk about 7 heavens above, right? Now, what I'm trying to tell here is this knowledge is called eternal science, and this science is between humans and souls. It is not related to a particular tradition or a particular sect, caste, creed, country, or stuff like that. That is how it is agnostic to that, this knowledge that we are talking about. Now, different tradition based on the message that people can digest, or it was appropriate for that particular time, they emanated. So I cannot comment on that, but I'm telling you this science is universal. We have to pick up where you want to put faith in, okay, where you're getting your answers and answers to your satisfaction here. Now, Sanatan Dharam, if you look at it, it is called an eternal science, which basically is applicable to everybody. Now, whether we choose to believe in gravitation force or not, gravitation or gravity will still do its job. That is how I see that. Whether we choose to believe in it or not it does not discriminate. Whether we choose to believe in fire or not, I have trust in fire or don't, fire will still do its job. So when we are talking about this science, it's an eternal science and it is applicable to everybody. Now, if they don't have access to that knowledge for whatever reason, or if the message was toned down for that particular appropriate time until it became a formal tradition, that doesn't mean, something different is going to happen. So that's my 2 cents on that. It's the same. It's a science which is applicable to everybody who's a human. I won't be limited to any tradition as such, for that matter. So it basically, in that, you will get all the answers around it. Now it's up to us which knowledge we want to subscribe to and have faith on it, because end of the day, we relate to a message that we are ready for as well, right? God, in this, if you look at this whole creation, similar to the different classes that we have, there will be different sects of people as well, right? What they are ready for. And they are strategically placed in that particular tradition, what they are ready for. And when they are ready for the next message, they take birth in those traditions, which will take their journey further. This is how it goes. In fact, I would go on to the extent of saying, I've heard it in the quote, right? Where the message of Quran ends at, do not, if you do this thing will happen. If you do that, it's basically more fear-based, right? Where the message of Quran ends, Bible begins. Bible talks about becoming good, going to heaven. Where the message of Bible ends, Bhagavad Gita begins. It says being good is good, but not good enough. Good is still binding. Heaven is not the ultimate destination. It ends at moksha. Where Bhagavad Gita ends, Bhagavatam begins. It says these 4 Kaitiv Rahit Dharam. They said Dharam, Karam, Arth, Moksha. Forget about these 4. Let's move beyond that. And it gets into the depths of bhakti. Where Bhagavatam ends, Chaitanya Charitamrita ends. He gets into the depths of bhakti, devotion, the personal form of God. And where Chaitanya Charitamrita ends, where Kripaluji Maharaj philosophy. So it really depends on what you are ready for, and that message you can subscribe to until you think you are ready for the next message. So, but what I'm saying is this knowledge is universal in appeal. It is not limited to the audience who are listening, because it is pretty universal. And they are very deep philosophical principles. And I will not be exaggerating, or it will not be a hyperbole if I tell you, no matter where you will go, the knowledge that you are listening here is the cream of the knowledge on this planet. Okay, or probably this Brahmand. You can try it out, check it out. And then there is no question that is unanswered in the scriptures that we are subscribing to. And it will be answered to your satisfaction with perfect logic. Any rational, logical thinking mind can say, yeah, this makes sense. Because for anything else which says, okay, there's no life, there's only one life, there are tons of questions it opens up, right? If there's one life, then God is not really smart creator. If there was only one life, why people are born unequal? Somebody's blind, somebody has a handicap, somebody's born in a particular country, somebody's poor. He's not giving a fair shot to everybody. So the whole premise of, fairness in God's perfect justice dispensing system falls apart with the first thing that, there is only one life. So there are a lot of loose ends if you subscribe to another philosophy. But what I would say is our recommended thing is whatever message we are ready for, God places us there strategically. And then as we keep on progressing, the other message just makes sense. It just clicks from there on. Okay, that was my long-winded answer to your short question. Hope it answered at least a part of it. Let's move on quickly. 10 more minutes we have before we wrap up, because we have a hard stop at 10 today. Quickly, before we get, yes, Sai Ramji, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, Radhe Radhe Sai Ramji.
Radhe Radhe Nitinji. If there is time, I'll ask a question. If not, I think if you're short of time, I can ask later also.
No, sure. Please go ahead. We have 10 minutes. I think that gives us.
Okay. I was just wondering, like, when it comes to this topic, since we're talking about rebirth and things of that sort, how is it that the devtas who are so intelligent, in the celestial abodes, are bhogyonis? I just don't understand. It seems perplexing to me. Like they meet God, they get darshan of Mahavishnu, they get darshan of Vishnu. They come and they shower flowers on Krishna during his birth, and I'm just wondering how they become a bhogyoni, and then they're still stuck in the material world.
Yeah, they were probably attached to sattva. They never got to the nirguna aspect of it, right? We spoke about, and when people become good, right? Let's say you are doing a lot of charity, you don't believe in God, you help people, you're generally good, you're honest in life. That is even more intoxicating, getting attached to goodness. So they get the fruit of their actions that they have done. And one of their job descriptions is to shower petals, every now and then. That's all they do. In fact, it is said that when their tenure is over, they wear a garland here, okay? And when their tenure is about to get over, then those gardens, that garland starts, fading away. Then they know now it's time for them to get, and they are also afflicted with greed, anger, envy, and all that stuff. It's just like, Elon Musk goes in something and then he sees Richard Branson is moving to space before me. He has a better vehicle than me. He has a better house than me. They have all those problems there in celestial abodes as well. So it is a bhogyoni for all the good things you did. The only problem or only thing you did not get it right was you never brought God into the mix. So God said, all right, fair enough. I will give you the bonus for all the good deeds you did here. But after that, you have to go back. Okay. Only when you become nirguna, then you can go. The interesting thing is they cannot do more deposits. They asked this question to Swamiji, right? They are so intelligent. Why wouldn't they? Then they crave for, okay, I want to come back as human. And next time when I'll come back as a human, I'm going to definitely complete this journey. So maybe God has designed it that way. Okay. You want to be good? Fine. Enjoy the celestial pleasures that stay for a while and then come back again. I don't know why he's designed it that way, but that is how it is. So it is a bhogyoni. You cannot make further deposits in that. Okay. Maybe we can ask God why he designed it that way. I asked this question to Swamiji. He said, yeah, they cannot. And they say we want human birth now. And after they come back as human, again we forget this, and again the same drama starts here. Yeah.
Thank you, Nitinji. Radhe Radhe.
And that is why it said that aspiring for celestial abodes is not a good ambition, right? Celestial abodes are the 7 heavens that we talk about. Jannat and all that stuff is a temporary pit stop. Okay, it still doesn't take you beyond material world. It is still a material world. And this Mahapralay, as we're talking about, this is the one, and you can quickly read through these. Any questions, we can talk about that. But we can take one more question from Manisha ji, and then I think a short video we're going to show you, and before we wrap up the session. But tomorrow we'll continue on this discussion. It's an interesting topic. Maybe half a session would be needed for that. Yes, Manisha ji.
Radhe Radhe. I wanted to ask, what if after death the rituals are not done in a proper manner and the soul was on the spiritual path? Will it gonna affect the journey of this soul in any way?
You want to hear the true answer or you want to hear a nice answer?
True.
So actually, yes, see, these rituals, they do carry significance, right? Even in Ramayana, if you look at it, when Pitri and those Darpan were done, Dashrath came to accept that. Okay. Having said that, to do that ritual perfectly in Kali Yuga is impossible. We do it more for our closure than for the benefit of soul itself. If you ask, honestly, the soul has moved on. I've asked this question very categorically, specifically to Swamiji, and he told me the same thing. The soul has moved on in its journey. But people, just so that there's a bit of a connect and we keep on getting satisfaction. Okay, my father, my great-grandfather, he must be on the way and now he's going to get this and that. So that the soul gets, or the people who are left behind, they get a closure. We continue with that stuff. They have given an allowance of 13 days to have that closure, mourning and stuff like that. But some we continue for years as well, right? Now, if you do it with proper tradition and stuff like that, it may, in Pitri Lok and all, but typically it doesn't. I mean, Swamiji said in Kali Yuga, there's no way, actually. It is more for your own satisfaction than anything else. The soul has moved on for its journey. But if you are born in Satyug or some other place where, everything can be done to perfection, then yes, you can actually, achieve the intended objective around it. That's how it goes.
Okay, because I saw in my own family, like after the death, they do some rituals, and then they categorize into like they are now into Pitra.
I know.
And
We
so
do that. It's more of our closure, I'm telling you, for our satisfaction. A lot of people will not like this answer, but this is how it is. Okay. If we were in some other yoga and were able to do that, then surely, but it's more for our closure than anything else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's say our ancestors have moved to Golok. You think anything from here would help them at that point, right? So soul has moved on in its journey. But yeah, it's for our satisfaction and the relationship we had the bond that we had shared out of respect. A lot of factors come into play to give us a closure, more than anything else. Yes, Sandhya.
So, Nitinji, actually, the link to the feedback tracker is not
Posted.
working right now. So there are 2 questions in the chat. Can we take
That
them?
tracker is not posted means we are not able to post
Tracker
it.
has been posted, but the link is not working.
Okay, link is not working.
The server is down for some reason, but I have
Oh, yeah, you can take the screenshot. Give me a question. I want to wrap it up on time today because we have that meeting at 10.
the
In the meantime,
video we can probably show tomorrow.
yeah, let's read out those 2 questions. And I would encourage all of you to, inspire your friends, family to come, because this is a pretty good way to, build a routine basically. And Lord Krishna says that whoever becomes an instrument in imparting this knowledge to others is very dear to me. So if you have friends, family, do help spread the word around, because we have a big team, right? Puts in a lot of work to get the sessions out, and it's a great way to get into your routine and benefit from it on a daily basis. Yes, Sandhya, go ahead. What are the couple of questions?
And there is this very lovely line sent by Monica Di, so I'll quickly read them. कुछ लोग जन्नत के लिए मरते हैं, हम जन्नत के मोहताज नहीं, हम तो कान्हा जी के चरणों में रहते हैं, जहां जन्नत की भी कोई औकात नहीं.
क्या बात है.
Okay, and then questions. Okay, one of the question I can probably read, others maybe we won't have time. So Pragiji asks, do our karmas cut in animal forms too? If no, then why we have in different yonis?
Why no, our karmas do not cut in animal form. They are bhogyonis. I think they're given to us for a reason. I mean, if we have made eating our priority and the whole life we keep on eating, maybe God will make us a pig. And if we have made sleeping our priority, maybe a polar bear. If we have made mating a priority, maybe pigeon. So God only has that algorithm. It's not that He's going to cut your karmas, by making you animals. So karmas you have to cut only by becoming human. In fact, it is statistically impossible to exhaust your karma even in human birth. The only way out of this matrix is to complete your surrender to God. Okay, because then He will burn off your stockpile of karmas in one shot. And that is the only smart way of getting beyond this material cycle. There's no other way. Okay, Munish Kotwalji, last one. Welcome to the session, first of all.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe Munish Kotwalji.
Radhe Radhe, everybody. Radhe Radhe, ma'am. My question is that I have heard from somebody that on the mango tree, there will be mangoes, and on the other fruits, there will be other fruits. Then the humans will become humans and the animals will become animals. Then why these 84 lakh yoniyas?
Is it Brahma Kumari's philosophy that you are subscribing to? Humans, once human, always human?
Yes, I have heard from them also.
So you can reject that, okay. My own relatives are in Brahma Kumari, I'm telling you. First, I would ask the first question, do they believe in Bhagavad Gita, which Lord Krishna spoke about 5,000 years ago? If not, then we are free to float any philosophies that we want, right? Once human, always human is not the right philosophy. Our scriptures are very clearly saying 84 lakh, 8.4 million is what you rotate around. Okay, it's not like you becoming.
But I want to add But my own experience says that if a person is taking birth in a slum area, a person is taking birth in an Ambani family, a person is taking birth as blind, that also he is bhoging the vikarmas. Then why to go in the animal? Yes.
No, see, God has a perfect algorithm for that, right? We can't say that the way we think is better or more smarter than what God thinks is the right way to do. In fact, any womb that is picked up, suitable womb, whether it is a poor family's womb, whether it is a womb which is chosen for a family who's in a particular country or a tradition, is dictated by a very complex algorithm which God only has access to. Right? So, whether he wants us to bear that karma born as a human, or he wants to put us in the regressive cycle of 8.4 million, it's his choice. And he knows it best around it, right? So we cannot, if we could crack God's head, we would have been God realized, right? Or we would have been God ourselves. So there are few things we have to take on the face value on what our scriptures are saying, rather than subscribing to what our intellect is telling us. Right? So there are two choices. Either we simply take it on face value, what our scriptures are telling us, or we keep questioning based on what our intellect is telling us, right? So we have to make a choice around that. Scriptures are very clearly telling us 84 lakh, becoming a human is a huge honor. It's like hitting a scholarship, and you can't take it for granted. So utilize it to the best possible way. Now we can keep on debating and arguing in our mind, okay, better than animal, but I mean, after a while, I think those questions will settle down with Guru's grace, and as we gain more clarity on some of these scripture principles. I hope I have had part of your question.
It's 10 to Nitinji, so we need
Okay, so we have to wrap up. We have an important meeting right now that we'll have to rush to, but thank you again for your enthusiastic participation. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. We'll continue on this topic. Maybe one more session would be needed to wrap up the conversation that we are having. If you have questions, you can put it on, I don't know where the feedback tracker is not there, but
keep the link with you and put it in when you can try again after some time. It should start working. So you can put your questions there. Okay. So I will stop recording. Thank you, everyone. See you all tomorrow. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe.